Welcome, everyone. We'll be starting in about a minute. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Charles Elder, and I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Dementia Prevention from the Inside Out, brought to you by the faculty of the Fellowship in Integrative Medicine and Ayurveda for Medical Professionals at Maharishi International University. This is a revolutionary and dynamic new program which offers rigorous training in both general integrative medicine and Ayurveda. It's the first fellowship in integrative medicine in the United States, and perhaps even in the world that we know of, that focuses specifically on Ayurveda and trains medical professionals. It's a 2-year distance learning program, very convenient, which provides fellows and participants with very practical skills. It's not just theoretical stuff. You learn right away skills, ideas that you can immediately integrate into your practice to help your patients heal and improve their health in a fully holistic way. In addition, our fellowship focuses in a very strong way on self-care. How do we take care of ourselves? Because as we learn in our fellowship, a healthy physician is needed in order to bring about a healthy patient. As we treat ourselves, this is how we treat our patients. Enhanced self-care, ideal self-care is ideal patient care. And our fellowship is approved by the American Board of Integrative Medicine, so that physicians who complete the fellowship are eligible to sit the certification exam offered by the ABOIM. So what we're going to do now is we're going to share with you some ideas about this very timely topic, brain health, dementia prevention. And we'll do it in a way that will help you to sort of get a flavor for what the curriculum of our program is actually like, as if you were a participant, and how we blend the general integrative medicine, the Western science, with the ancient Vedic science. So I want to show you a slide. Okay, so this slide is from a very interesting slide, was published in a report put out by the Lancet Commission in 2020. And the slide shows population attributable fraction of potentially modifiable risk factors for dementia. So if you look at the slide, it tells us that about 60% of risk for developing dementia is unknown, but about 40% of risk is potentially modifiable, can potentially be reduced or eliminated, and that some of this can be approached or addressed in the very early stages of life, the green section, or in the middle sections of life, the blue section, and in the later sections of life, the purple section. So, for example, we see in this slide that inadequate education in youth accounts for about 7% of dementia risk. In midlife, hearing loss, traumatic brain injury, hypertension, alcohol misuse, obesity, all contribute risk to developing dementia later in life, and of course are all potentially modifiable. And later in life, smoking. Quitting smoking increases one's risk for dementia by 5%. Depression, 4%. Social isolation, 4%. Physical inactivity, air pollution, diabetes, in some 40% modifiable risk. So this gives us great ideas in terms of where we can intervene as professionals to reduce our patients' risk of developing dementia. Now, Ayurveda will add a whole additional new set of tools beyond this. So as integrative medicine docs, we'll want to address those modifiable risk factors. And then Ayurveda gives us another lens, another set of tools to go even further. Now, in Ayurveda, health is viewed as a state of balance and disease as a state of imbalance of three fundamental physiologic or psychometabolic principles called doshas. And those doshas are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And to cut right to the chase, Vata is the dosha that is most involved in the pathogenesis of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is essentially an imbalance of Vata dosha. So Vata is the principle that governs all movement, mind, body, and spirit. It is thought to be composed of the elements space and air. It's dry, rough, light. When we think of Vata, think of the blowing cool wind in the autumn. Think of a hummingbird buzzing around, or think of a snake in the grass, dry, light, subtle. This is what Vata dosha is about. And too much Vata over time will increase our risk for dementia. So then what are some of the things that we can do to from the standpoint of Ayurveda, to balance Vata? So let's look at this slide shows factors that aggravate Vata dosha. And we can see here, some of them are a little bit surprising. Behavioral factors, wakefulness at night, insufficient sleep, night vigil, working a night shift, working an irregular daily routine, working irregular shifts, not attending properly to biorhythms, excess physical or mental exertion, working too hard, aggravates Vata. Aggravated Vata persistently over time can aggravate or lead to dementia. Irregular daily routine, frequent falls, bone fractures and injuries. These things can aggravate Vata. Many dietary factors can increase or aggravate Vata dosha. We'll talk about some of those in a few minutes. The weather can aggravate Vata, so that cold, dry, windy climates, exposure to such a climate over an extended period of time will imbalance Vata, potentially at a deep level. Notice that old age is in and of itself, quote unquote, old age is in and of itself an imbalancing factor for Vata. The last part of life, say 60 years onward, is the Vata season of life. Any Vata-related disorder, one is at increased risk for it as one gets to be 60, 70, 75 years old. Perception. In our fellowship, we just finished our 5 senses course, and we learned that overuse, underuse, and or misuse of the senses can all cause disease. In the case of Vata dosha, exposure to harsh, penetrating, frightening perceptions can aggravate Vata. So watching scary movies, listening to raucous music, being glued to YouTube month after year, all of this can aggravate Vata, which in turn is a risk factor or a causative factor for dementia. Emotions such as fear, grief, worry, anxiety, agitation, all aggravate Vata. So as mentioned, what are the causative factors for dementia from the Vedic perspective? Vata aggravation. And then there are others, aging and stress, as we mentioned, feeling disconnected, loss of hope, social isolation, loss of dharma, loss of one's purpose in life. These are felt to be key components in the pathogenesis of Ayurveda from the Ayurvedic perspective. And you can see how we can blend this with the allopathic approach, the allopathic lens, to really create a truly comprehensive approach to caring for the patient. So then, what are some of the things that we will do from the Ayurveda perspective to help prevent or even treat dementia? I'll turn the floor over to my colleague, Dr. Sankari Wegman, to explore that area.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charles. That was wonderful. Hello, everyone. I'll be talking a little bit more about these different approaches that Dr. Charles had mentioned. And when we're talking about dementia from the inside out, that's really what I'll be kind of looking at, this concept of going within and how that affects our overall health. This is really part of integrative medicine, which looks at whole person health. It's a cornerstone of what integrative medicine is. It's going beyond just mere symptom management. It's really going to the root cause of illness. And this is what is so aligned with Ayurveda, this ancient system of medicine that also looks at this holistic understanding of health. And one of the most important parts of Ayurveda is re-enlivening and enlivening the body's inner intelligence. And to talk a little bit more about that, I'm just going to share my screen here. 1 second. So Dr. Charles talked a little bit about all of these different aspects and how that can create imbalance or balance for Vata dosha and what we can do. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this particular aspect of behavior and lifestyle. One of this most important parts of behavior or lifestyle is the value of rest. And to talk about it, I just want to talk about, we start really with enlivening that value of rest. And we recommend the Transcendental Meditation program. It's one of the most widely practiced and among the most widely researched meditation techniques with hundreds of published research studies. It is a simple, natural, effortless mental technique. And it's practiced for about 20 minutes twice a day, sitting with the eyes closed. And this allows the activity of the mind to settle to quieter and quieter levels of activity until the mind transcends activity altogether to a state of silent rest, the source of thought or pure consciousness. And with this, we can see in this diagram that, like the ocean, the mind has an active surface level, all the racing thoughts, all the things that we have to get done throughout the day. And this practice of meditation with TM systematically brings the mind from the active surface level to a state of deep rest. And this deep rest is really the key for enhanced physiological functioning, release of stress, rejuvenation, decreased incidence of disease. Stress has a negative influence on overall health, as well as specifically brain health. And we can see just this practice of this simple mental technique has numerous benefits for our health. One study that was done on 80-year-olds, on the elderly, conducted at Harvard, published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, found that the practice of TM, or Transcendental Meditation, increases cognitive flexibility in the elderly. Dr. Alexander and his team investigated whether direct changes in the state of consciousness through specific mental techniques impact longevity and reverse age-related decline. And to answer this, 73 elderly residents from 8 homes with a mean age of about 81 years old were randomly assigned to different treatments. This is the Transcendental Meditation technique, mindfulness training, relaxation, or no treatment. And what was found is that the results showed that the TM group improved the most, followed by mindfulness, in contrast to relaxation and no treatment. On paired associate learning, as well as measures of cognitive flexibility, the mindfulness group improved most, followed by TM on perceived control and word fluency. Also, the TM group improved as well with systolic blood pressure and ratings of behavioral flexibility, aging, and treatment efficacy. But the most striking finding was really the survival rate with TM. All TM subjects were alive 3 years in post-testing, in contrast with the other groups. that were equivalent with chronological age, physiological, and psychological health. We can see that addressing stress, what it does for the overall functioning of the physiology. And in this diagram by Sengupta, published in the International Journal of Preventive Medicine, we can see this diagram that shows the physiological impact of stress. That stress activates this HPA axis, releasing cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline, which impacts lipid metabolism, glucose level, behavioral effects, inflammation, blood pressure regulation, and prolonged activation can lead to disease with a dysregulated metabolism. It can lead to chronic inflammation and increased risk of cardiovascular disease. And also there's a link to dementia as well. So prolonged activation of this stress response can lead to structural and functional changes in the brain. So along with meditation, along with breathing exercises, what also Ayurveda recommends are yoga postures known as yogasanas that have been shown to support brain health. Research indicates that practicing yogasanas supports overall health by reducing stress. It improves cognitive function. It potentially reduces the risk of any kind of neurodegenerative diseases, just with this value of stress reduction, increased physical activity, improved vascular health. And so yoga, the practice of yogasanas can also contribute to having a protective effect for brain health, and it makes it a valuable component to add to our lifestyle. And again, as always, with any yoga practice, we just want to make sure that we consult our physician, before practicing yoga, and so that it's recommended in the proper way. Marshi Yogasanas are a set of yogasanas that are taught by a certified yoga teacher in Marshi Yogasanas, and it's practiced in a very slow, comfortable pace with no strain. And the aim is really to turn the attention within. So during this practice of Marshi Yogasanas, the eyes are usually closed, the attention is just easily on the body as a whole. And there are this experience of expansion of awareness that really signifies a state of yoga, which is union of mind and body. So the wholeness of yoga is important. So all of these poses, doing it in this particular sequence, is very important for the wholeness for prevention, as well as each pose has its own particular benefit. For example, especially for brain health, Sambahan, which is known as toning, which is all over massage of the whole body, has this effect for supporting brain health. Sarvangasana, which is known as shoulder stand, also is supporting cognitive function. The Bhujangasana, known as cobra pose, Shashankasana, known as moon pose, Hastapadasana, which is a hand to foot pose. All of these also specifically support brain health as well as overall health. Incorporating yoga, meditation, breathing exercises is supporting overall health, and a few more modalities that Ayurveda recommends is incorporating a warm daily oil massage. This is known as Abhyanga in Ayurveda, and it's a wonderful way to support health and longevity. And this daily regimen of massaging warm oil to the head and to the whole body is really a cornerstone of the Ayurvedic daily routine. It provides a powerful preventative and rejuvenative effect for the whole body. As Dr. Charles mentioned in the beginning, dementia comes under the umbrella of an imbalance of Vata dosha, and Vata dosha is associated with the qualities of dryness, coldness, movement. So a warm oil massage can really help with counterbalancing this by providing warmth, moisture, lubrication, and also just a very rhythmic, beautiful motion. So it's bringing balance in this way, in a very calming, soothing way, and helps to balance Vata dosha specifically. Along with balancing Vata dosha, that feeling of fatigue or that lack of mental clarity that can be seen with a Vata imbalance is really helped by this daily Abhyanga. Those symptoms are reduced, and there's a greater evenness, strength, stability that one feels throughout the whole day. It also improves circulation. It has a very relaxing effect on the nervous system, helps to lubricate the joints, increases mental alertness, improves elimination of impurities, as well as supporting sleep. So just overall supporting the whole body and the nervous system. And if it's challenging to do a daily oil massage, even just focusing on the head is a wonderful way to support the whole body, but especially for brain health. And a head massage not only feels fabulous, but it also can help release tension, can help ease any pain, reduce stress, and it promotes relaxation as well as sleep. Along with this concept of warm oil for the body, there's sesame oil is one of the most balancing of all substances really for Vata dosha. There are specific herbalized oils such as Brahmi ghee, which Dr. Leslie will talk a little bit more about, that can also specifically help nourish and strengthen the head, nourish the brain in this way. And there's also specific herbalized oils, as you can see on the screen, that support each of the doshas that can be used for the whole body as well as for the head. Another Ayurvedic therapy that's utilizing warm oil is nasya, or nasal administration of medicated oils or herbalized preparations. And this is also part of the Ayurvedic routine that the texts of Ayurveda indicate helps to nourish the brain. It helps to lubricate the nasal passages. It can also help enhance that circulation to the brain, so allowing for enhanced oxygen and nutrient delivery to the brain cells to help with cognitive health. It improves mental clarity and is really supporting overall cognitive health in this way. And it's really a very important and comprehensive part of the Ayurvedic treatment for any kind of neurological disorders. So these are just a few of the many modalities that Ayurveda has to offer from within, just starting from that place of meditation, going within, enlivening that inner intelligence of the physiology, and then supporting that union of mind and body through the practice of the different breathing exercises, yoga postures, and this beautiful way to support and calm down Vata dosha by nourishing it with a full body oil massage, or to the head or to the nose, which is really the gateway to the brain. And to talk a little bit more about some other modalities, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Leslie, who'll be talking a little bit more about diet as well as herbal supplements, and how this can also help support cognitive health.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wegman. It's so important to offer this to our patients, the meditation and the modality of abhyanga, the oil massage, and these are such profound knowledge that we can offer to our patients. When I was in medical school, I remember I just longed so much to learn more about natural medicine. I knew there must be something more out there. I just didn't feel that what I was learning was really quite enough. And so when I finally got out of my family medicine residency, I was finally able to get training in Maharishi Ayurveda. And I can tell you that it's just been so wonderful to be able to offer my patients the benefits of this knowledge. So now I'm just going to dive deeper into diet and how you can use diet to balance Vata. As you've heard, dementia is really a Vata disorder. And so it's really quite amazing, the knowledge of Ayurveda. It's very special, the knowledge that that we can offer of how to balance our physiology through diet. And they say that for dementia, really the diet that's recommended is a ghee-based diet. We want to balance the qualities of Vata in our physiology, the qualities of the cold, dry, light, rough, and irregular qualities that are like the qualities that wind and air have in nature. If we get too much of this in our physiology, we really can become Vata aggravated, out of balance with the dosha of Vata. So it really is amazing that we can actually change our diet, and it just makes some adjustments in our diet, the qualities of the food that we eat, the tastes of the food, and also even very important is the timing of when we eat. So let's talk about that. So we want to balance these qualities of Vata dosha. So the foods that we eat really need to be warm, liquidy, oily, and a little bit heavier to settle these Vata qualities down. We really should be eating fresh cooked foods for the most part. Also, the taste of the food, which is very amazing, that you can actually balance the Vata dosha by the tastes of the food. So sweet, sour, and salty tastes balance Vata, whereas astringent, bitter, and pungent tastes can bring Vata up or aggravate Vata. So we really want to have those qualities of the warm foods, a little more liquidy, oily quality to the foods, a little bit heavier foods, and as well as emphasizing the sweet, sour, and salty tastes. So to just go over the general Vata balancing diet and the specific foods that have these qualities and hence balance Vata, I'm just going to go through, what the types of food we would favor. It's best to eat cooked grains with a little bit of oil. It's always good to add a little bit of oil while we're cooking. Grains like rice and wheat are especially Vata pacifying, calming to Vata. We can also eat, most grains are good as long as you add a little bit of oil and a little bit of spice, like a little bit of turmeric or a little ginger while you're cooking them. Those are very nice for Vata. Also legumes like mung dal, split mung dal, and lentils. Tofu, these are very good at balancing Vata. Cooked vegetables. You cook vegetables, most vegetables, as long as they have some ghee or a little bit of oil on them, olive oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, they're all good. And a little bit of some warming spices like cumin, ginger, hing, or asafoetida. Cooked vegetables are very good. We want to in general just also to favor freshly cooked foods. So avoiding old foods or leftover foods, for the most part, trying to emphasize fresh foods in our diet is a very good thing. Nuts are good because they have the oily quality of the nuts. Also, dairy products are very balancing for Vata because they have a naturally sweet taste, and they also have some of that liquidy, oily quality. They're actually very good for Vata. There's a lot of information about how to use dairy products because it's best to have them by themselves and warm. Like if you're going to have milk, you heat it up with a little bit of spice and you have it by itself or with sweet foods like breakfast foods or even before bed. It's important to have also lassi is amazing drink. It's made by yogurt, shaking it up with a little bit of some water. And that's a great drink to have after your lunch. It's very good for the microbiome. By the way, I'm sure some of you know that it's been found recently that imbalances in the microbiome could actually contribute to some forms of dementia. So naturally in the Ayurvedic diet with the lassi, we are able to address that issue. Just automatically we have balanced our biome by adding that lassi at the end of our lunch. Just spices in general are very good for Vata. And when we say spices, we don't mean like chili peppers. Those are very pungent and can be a little bit too strong. But warming spices, like I said, cumin, ginger, and hing are very good. And fruits are wonderful, especially sweet fruits, sweet, juicy fruits like summer fruits, nectarines, grapes, peaches, cherries, and also soaked figs and raisins are just wonderful for Vata. It's good to soak them because you don't want to, again, have too many dry foods. But soaking your figs, raisins, dates, those are really good and help with elimination. So all of these foods are very good for balancing Vata, but actually most importantly, if not equally important, is the timing of how we eat our foods. we want to have we want to make sure our digestion is at its peak when we have our main meal of the day. So just our body reflects nature, and in nature, when the sun is at its peak, right around noon, that is the time of the day where our Agni, our digestion, is at its peak also. From 10 to 2, with noon being the peak, the very the time when you're most able to digest a big meal with heavy protein. So this is the time of the day when we want to eat our lunch. Should be the biggest meal of the day, and that's when we want to eat our heaviest protein. And some people you might be saying, well, how am I going to do that? I'm at work. But we really work with our fellows, and so they will understand how to make this happen and how to communicate how to teach their patients how to do this. So the timing of the meal is very important. And it's also important to just have a regular schedule of regular routine of eating. It's not a good idea to just be grazing or constantly snacking. You really want to have a regular schedule of eating where you sit down to have a good lunch, and maybe a snack in the afternoon, a piece of fruit or some nuts, and then a light dinner. But just a regular schedule of eating is amazing and very helpful. It also is very helpful to have one of the reasons that you want to have lunch as a main meal of the day is because that's when you can digest your food properly. And because if you eat a big meal at the wrong time of the day, say, late at night, your digestion is at a very low point. Your digestive fire is not able to digest a large meal. And so you're not going to be able to really assimilate that food. And it's because it's not properly digested, it actually can cause what we call the improper products of digestion, which is another name, the Sanskrit word for that is ama. Ama is a sticky white substance that can lodge in different parts of the body. It's thought to be the basis for most disease. And here we see the brain of a patient that had Alzheimer's disease. And we see there this plaque, amyloid plaque. And this is, in Ayurveda, like I said, we call this ama. This is ama that's lodged in the brain, in the nervous system. And this is a very amazing concept that, and Ayurveda has been known for thousands of years, that the ama causes disease through these deposits, and we're seeing this with Alzheimer's disease. Okay, now I want to talk about herbs. There's a number of herbs that are used for preventing dementia, and the number one herb that really has become quite popular and people are aware of this herb is called ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is a rasayana. A rasayana means it's an herb that is balancing for all doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha. It's really one of the best herbs for calming the mind. It's good for memory loss, increasing alertness, and it's known for that it's good for disorders of the elderly in general. It's strengthening and very good for debilitating diseases. It's very much good for balancing vata. Another herb is Brahmi. Brahmi is also known as Bacopa. And Brahmi acts as a brain tonic. It's an adaptogen. It helps to boost the brain and nervous system as resistance to stress. It helps the brain actually resist stress. It's very good for mental rejuvenation, and it's also good for decreasing vata. Now, Brahmi, as Dr. Wegman mentioned, is also used in the combination Brahmi ghee. Ghee is wonderful for dementia, and when you combine the Brahmi extract with ghee, or Bacopa extract with ghee, the ghee acts as a carrier for the herb to deliver it to the nervous system. So Brahmi ghee is a wonderful way to really target your patient's nervous system, and it's taken. It's not used in cooking. It's used. You can combine it with warm water and take it like that, or with some milk. You can also take it with milk, hot milk. The next herb is gotu kola. Gotu kola is it's often used for as a substitute for Brahmi in the West. It is less expensive than Brahmi. It has many of the same effects. It's very good for rejuvenation of the mind and the nervous system. It supports circulation to the brain. It supports cognitive function and memory in dementia. Mind Plus, you see in the slide, is it's a product sold by Maharishi Ayurvedic Products International. It's called Mind Plus Syrup, and it's a combination. It's a combination formula, and the number one herb is gotu kola in this formula, and the other herbs work synergistically to enhance the gotu kola effect. There's also Intelligence Plus. It's a tablet, and this also has gotu kola as the main ingredient, along with other herbs that work together with the gotu kola. So these are two very good products for preventing dementia. Really, you'll notice if you take it, it really does help your memory and clarity. So these are all, with the diet, the taste, the qualities, the timing, the regular diet, and the lunch is the main meal of the day, and then the herbal formulas. This all of this knowledge really expands your toolkit as a physician, as a healthcare provider, and really works well with allopathic medicine, integrative medicine, to really help your patients to be healthy. So that's it. And I would like to, let's hear now from Dr. Arti Prasad, the director of our program. I think we need to unmute.
My name is Arti Prasad, and I'm the Chief Strategic Development Officer at Hennepin Healthcare, a professor of medicine at University of Minnesota, and an adjunct faculty at Maharishi International University in the College of Integrative Medicine. And I am the director of this fellowship program. This fellowship in Integrative Medicine and Integrative Ayurveda is developed in collaboration with the University of Arizona Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine. It is provisionally approved by the American Board of Integrative Medicine. The faculty of the University of Arizona Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine have contributed their foundational fellowship curriculum called the FFC to the Masters in Ayurveda program at MIU. The FFC provides state-of-the-art knowledge in all the major domains of integrative medicine recommended by the American Board of Integrative Medicine, called the ABOIM. The Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine has been teaching physicians and health professionals for 20 years in their fellowship programs. As we know, patients are increasingly demanding whole person and prevention-oriented healthcare without harmful side effects. During this program, you will gain knowledge and skills to optimize your clinical effectiveness while minimizing adverse effects of conventional medicine, while also improving your own well-being. You will learn to empower your patients and increase satisfaction through whole person care, utilizing best practices of modern integrative medicine and integrative Ayurveda. In the residential fellowship week, this is very important that you will actually enjoy making meaningful connections for the rest of your lives. I can speak from my own experience being in the Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine Fellowship many years ago, that this training was one of the best training experiences of my life. I have built a lifelong and meaningful professional and personal connections through my fellowship. And these connections happened during the residential weeks of the fellowship. This was in addition to all the learning experiences, the workshops which were offered to the fellows. I hope you will consider this fellowship and enjoy it fully. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Prasad. I'd like to remind everyone that in a few minutes we'll be taking questions. And if you have questions, you can write them in the Q&A located in the bottom bar. Before we get to that, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Sonal Bhatia, who is one of our fellows. And Dr. Bhatia will give you a little bit of the fellow's perspective on what we're doing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Elder. And what a phenomenal overview we've heard tonight on Ayurveda as it relates to dementia. I won't talk as much about dementia right now, but really my own experience over the last, I guess it's been 8 months in the fellowship program. When I was actually looking for an opportunity, I was looking for a holistic integrated healthcare program, but I wanted it to have the foundation of Ayurveda because my grandfather was an Ayurvedic doctor, and it stayed in my DNA. It's something I wanted to learn, even though I'm a physician. I practiced for a while, then I work in the pharmaceutical industry. So I wanted to connect all the dots of my learnings to what more can we do for patients as it relates to their own health. And I was very, very pleased to find, as Dr. Elder said, potentially the only one in the world, but definitely the only one in US, this program that offers us to learn holistic medicine from all lenses, learn a little bit about all the other opportunities and practices that exist worldwide, but then focus in on Ayurveda. And it's been a phenomenal experience. The clinic week, we have 2 clinic weeks. The first one that we already experienced in October really allowed us to take all of the practices that you've learned today, that you've just been exposed to, and actually work on them, learn them for ourselves, and apply them. So, for example, Dr. Wegman talked about yoga asanas, and that is something that we all did together collectively as fellows, and we now all practice on our own. Even though we just started the program, for me, it's become part of my daily routine. Transcendental meditation has been absolutely transformative for me. I have actually noticed my Apple Watch telling me that my heart rate's lower and trending lower since I started. Why? Because I know, I don't need a study to show me, but I've seen myself actually be a lot more balanced with my twice-a-day meditations, the yoga asanas. We learned how to do the oil massages known as abhyangas. We've been applying them. Dr. Leslie Elder taught us a lot of cool techniques on how to cook simplistically, use a slow cooker. She gave us a lot of tricks and trades that we've now been applying to ourselves and actually even sharing with our community. And while I'm not seeing patients directly, I have a lot of people coming to me and curious about what I'm learning. And I'm starting to share my practices and guide them because I'm able to take their pulse, which we've learned through this program, to really understand what are their imbalances and give them a few tips on herbs or foods or any different changes in their mind, in their modalities, even small ones that can make an impact to their life. So I'm very excited about what the future holds in the next almost year and a half that's left of our program. But one of the most beautiful things that's come out of this is the collaboration and camaraderie of my fellows. We're together in this. We've been giving each other a lot of tips. We actually have a WhatsApp group as well, including our directors and our entire group here that you see is part of that as well. So we have quick access to all of our teachers to guide us as we're learning from each other and learning through these modules. And it's an excellent program that I highly recommend, not just for your own patients, but also for your own self, because we have to be able to practice what we preach. And what we're learning right now is the beautiful practice of an ancient tradition that can totally serve in the modern world if we do it right and we have the skill sets to do it. So with that, I'll pass it back to Dr. Elder.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bhatia, for those wonderful remarks. So our program is a 2-year distance learning training program for licensed medical professionals. It's about 1,200 hours total, and the curriculum is divided fairly evenly between Ayurveda and general integrated medicine. Distance learning, you can learn on your own schedule, except there is a live webinar every other week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States, or Eastern Daylight Savings Time. And in addition, there is 1 week per year of on-site residential training at our campus, on our campus at Maharishi International University. Now, we emphasize 2 things, as I'll reemphasize. Number 1, practical skills. This isn't just something to come and learn about and stick on your bookshelf. This tend to be very practical for your patients, so that immediately, not many weeks into the program at all, you will be already be learning things that you can immediately put into practice to help your patients. And there is a very strong emphasis on self-care, as we said, and the skills are very practical. Just as you've heard tonight, diet, herbals, mind, body, 5 sense therapies. You'll learn the ancient Ayurvedic art of pulse diagnosis and how that can enhance both your diagnostics and your therapeutics. You'll learn about exercise, evidence-based referral guidelines to other practitioners, and the like. You'll learn how to care for yourself, and you will be joining a community of like-minded people focused on learning to succeed and thrive in a busy clinical practice. The program has been approved by the American Board of Integrative Medicine. Everyone who graduates from the program gets an MS degree. It's an fully accredited master's degree. And the MDs and the North American MDs and DOs will be eligible, or can be eligible, to take the certification exam offered by the American Board of Integrative Medicine. And one new feature for those of you who are already certified by the American Board of Integrative Medicine, it is possible to enroll in the program for reduced tuition to take the Ayurvedic content of the program only in an advanced graduate certificate program. So at this point, we're going to invite and address some of your questions. I'd like to thank all the faculty and all of you, and really encourage you. Here you see this picture of us in our residential week last November. Really a wonderful experience, a wonderful group of people. And on behalf of all of our community, we encourage you to ask questions, explore, and we hope that you'll consider joining us in our next class. So on this note, I will ask Kimia to step in and bring forward some of the questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Elder, Dr. Charles Elder, Dr. Leslie Elder, Dr. Sankari Wegman, and Dr. Sonal Bhatia for such beautiful presentation. We received several comments that they've really enjoyed. The audience have really enjoyed the presentation as well. And specifically, Jill mentioned that this was a really lovely and helpful presentation. One of their questions was, what is the duration of the program? And Dr. Elder, I think you already mentioned that it is 2 years. How would I be able to get a consultation with an Ayurvedic doctor for myself? My mother has dementia and it concerns me.
what I would recommend you do, depending on where you're at, we have this program is one of a number of degree programs in Ayurveda that MIU offers. And we have practitioners all over North America and Europe, people who have been trained at our institution. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to email one of us. I'll put my email in the chat. And offline, depending upon where it is that you're located, we can see who we have in that area, who we can refer you to.
Thank you, Dr. Elder. Another question, can intermittent fasting be used within an Ayurvedic lifestyle?
So I'm happy to answer that. I'm actually doing it. And I've taken the principles of Ayurveda and applied it to intermittent fasting. And as long as you're having your biggest meal, as Dr. Leslie mentioned, around 12 to 2, it tends to be that perfectly aligned with intermittent fasting. So you can have maybe a very light breakfast, or not even if you don't eat it in the morning, but it's in Ayurveda, it's recommended that you have something in the morning to start to kick off your digestion. And intermittent fasting, you can go with 50 to 100 calories without disrupting the plan of intermittent fasting. And then try to have most of your meal around lunch is the recommendation. So it's doable, but you have to adjust a little bit. At least that's my perspective. But I open it to our faculty for their thoughts.
So a common thing that you can do, that a lot of people do, is for the intermittent fasting. I mean, in Ayurveda, like you said, lunch is the main meal of the day. But if you just have that the time of the day where you have your big solid meal, you know, protein, etc., and then you can have just a liquid dinner. Like liquid, you can just have a liquid soup, or you can have some warm milk with, you know, like that's milk that's been boiled with little spices. Just have that with a tea bag. And then for breakfast, you can again have something liquid, like you could do the hot milk again with some spice, or you know, something very easy, and then just sit down and have a nice lunch. And so that's really that's a good way that to painlessly you know, have that intermittent fasting to get that accomplished without suffering much at all. You just have a nice big lunch, and that's really an Ayurvedic thing to do. And it really helps to keep your, and it's really hard to become obese when you do that. In fact, just having lunch as your main meal of the day, it really is a way that you'll find that you will just, you know, you won't gain weight, and a lot of people will maybe lose a few pounds. It really is a good way to prevent obesity.
We have this. Go ahead, Sankari.
I just wanted to add that I would say that the concept of intermittent fasting is really kind of baked into Ayurveda in one way, in the sense that you have the different doshas that Dr. Charles was talking about: Vata dosha, Pitta dosha, and Kapha dosha. And Kapha dosha is more of the heavier dosha. It's more dominant in the evening as well as the early morning. So Ayurveda, that's why Ayurveda recommends lunch as the main meal, when Pitta is more dominant. So during Kapha times of the day, breakfast and dinner, we have lighter meals. So the lighter in quality. So it's not just about the quantity, but the quality of the meals is lighter and earlier, which helps with digestion, absorption, as well as sleep. So Ayurveda really recommends having an earlier dinner, even 6:30, finishing by like 7 p.m., and then really allowing that maximum value of digestion and absorption to happen, so that when we wake up, we feel that clarity as well. And we're also self-referral in that way. You know, we eat according to that hunger. So I would say it's really kind of baked into Ayurveda, this concept of intermittent fasting, as well as even just the notion of fasting once in a while as well for health. So
thank you all. The next question is, what is the Ayurvedic perspective about putting patients into ketosis to improve cognition? Thank you.
So there is evidence that a ketogenic diet is effective for children with recalcitrant seizure disorders. Okay. As a general principle, though, that's a great stress on the physiology. Now, so for most adult patients, now everyone's different, and we meet people where they're at. And someone comes in and this is what they want to do. We have that discussion, but it wouldn't be, for me, it wouldn't be the first the first thing I would reach for. And there's a number of reasons for it, but it's a stress on the physiology. And rather than taking that approach, we would rather rather than stressing the physiology, we would look to soothe the physiology with a Vata balancing diet, which is well balanced and includes the right amount of all the food groups to relax the physiology and kindle the nature's intelligence in the body's own healing processes.
Thank you, Dr. Elder. It looks like we have professionals from different fields in medicine here, and we have from someone who's in the field of functional medicine, pharmacists, and they're asking how this program will add to their practice.
Ayurveda is unique in a lot of ways. So number one, Ayurveda, as most of you know, is the oldest system of natural medicine in the world that's been in continuous practice. So most other natural healthcare systems will share a lot with or will borrow a lot from Ayurveda. So in Ayurveda, there's a lot of depth. There is an enormous amount of clinical experience. And there are some things in Ayurveda that are really uniquely potent. Number one is the diet. The Ayurveda, you've gotten a little taste of the diet, no pun intended, but Ayurveda is the dietary prescriptions are really, really sophisticated. Anybody who's not familiar with Ayurveda and who's interested in diet will learn a lot. Very practical things that you can immediately add to your practice. That's number one. So number two, our approach is consciousness based. So we have a really strong emphasis on self-care, and a lot of the Ayurvedic self-care approaches, and especially the Maharishi Ayurvedic self-care approaches, are unique and very profound. And again, we're all learning and growing, and we all from other systems have learned ways to take care of ourselves. You will learn things in our program which will enhance your own well-being that you hadn't thought about or known about before coming to our program. A third example is pulse diagnosis. According to the Charaka Samhita, you can learn everything you need to know about your patient by assessing their radial pulse. Now, of course, it takes time to bring your pulse diagnostic skills to that level, but in our program, we set you on that path, and you'll learn and practice and begin to master pulse diagnosis, which goes a long way to helping you figure out what's going on with your patients and detect imbalances in the physiology before they manifest as disease, which is really the ultimate of prevention.
Thank you, Dr. Elder. Okay, can you speak a little bit about the application process and what the prerequisites are?
Sure. The application process is fairly straightforward. So go to our website and you can click apply here. It will take you 20 minutes to apply, and the application fee is $20. You'll need to provide the usual information, demographic information, and a 250-word paragraph on why you're interested in the program. It's that simple to apply. And then what you will need in terms of application materials will be a copy of your undergraduate transcript, That's a university requirement because it's a master's program. And your license. If you are a physician, your medical license. If you're a nurse practitioner, your nurse practitioner license. So to sign up for our program, you need to have an active medical license or an active license in your field somewhere. Okay, MDs, DOs, nurse practitioners, PAs, naturopaths, pharmacists, dentists. And now, if you're not in one of those practitioner groups, we have a different master's program that you go to our website, there's a link, you can go there, and it's a 3-year program, great training. Okay, so having done that for our program, then there will be an interview on Zoom. Here you go. The applications for the August class are due soon, within the next couple of months. I think the application deadline is first week of July-ish. I have to check the website.
Yes, it's in the beginning of July. Thank you, Dr. Elder. And I did go ahead and put the links for both of the program in the chat for everyone. The first link is for the fellowship program, and the second link is for the master's. You can click each one and find out more details about the wonderful programs that we offer here. Okay, we have a few more questions. So who are the teachers for this program? We can see most of them here, but I'll let you take it, Dr. Elder.
In addition to us, we have guests at nearly every webinar from the field of general integrative medicine, from our faculty at MIU. So you can look on our website. You can see who some of the guest faculty are. There is a section on that on the website. And in addition, you can, on the website, it says list us, and then it says see all faculty here. And if you click there, it will take you to the page for the faculty for the Department of Physiology and Health, which is a lot more people, and those people will come into our webinars. In addition, there are videos of a lot of our, it's online learning, so there's a lot of videos that one watches and a lot of articles and one reads, and there are a lot of different people who are involved in preparing those videos. So there's really a lot of people you'll be learning from. The core faculty are right here, Dr. Prasad and the rest of us.
Dr. Elder, and how do you manage navigating the program while also working? It's coming from a physician, I believe.
Happy to answer that. I think it requires planning and organization. It is about 10 hours a week, give and take. So a few hours every day, including the webinar, and staying on top of the tests that are due and the assignments that are due at the time that they're due is really important. So I think just a little bit of planning, and it is doable. You do an hour every evening, and then on the weekend you do a couple hours. And our faculty's been great, very graceful in opening the modules that start on a Monday on a Friday, so you can start to catch up on the weekend before and just stay ahead. But for all of us in the fellowship, we're helping each other, reminding each other of the dates that things are due, because there are a few things, but it's a very organized system within the program itself. So you're going from step 1 to 2 to 3 very systematically. And it's just a matter of carving time out daily to work on it.
Thank you, Dr. Bhatia. We have time for 2 more questions. One quick question and answer. I'll give the answer for this one. Is the recording going to be available for this session? Absolutely. And we're also going to upload this on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube by searching our handle FINTMAV. Dr. Elder is going to share his screen in just a moment after we're done with the Q&A section. And you're going to be able to actually scan a QR code to navigate directly to our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn pages. So you can connect with us on all of those platforms. Okay. So the next question is the program accredited? We had several participants ask that question.
Yeah, so MIU is a fully accredited university, so everybody gets a master's degree, an accredited master's degree. It's a real degree. You'll have an MS in Integrative Medicine and Ayurveda. And as a fellowship, the program is fully recognized by the American Board of Integrative Medicine. It is one of 22 integrative medicine fellowships in the United States that are recognized and that qualify you to sit the certification exam offered by the ABOIM.
Thank you. And the last question is, what does the residential week involve? And I think I'm glad that you shared the screen because I believe this picture is from the residential hands-on experience that the students had recently in the program.
So I can just talk a little bit. The residential clinical week is 1 week every year, so twice a year, and usually happens at the end in October, November time. And during that time, it is really hands-on training, putting into practice everything that we're learning. So we do, as Dr. Sonal mentioned, different, really understanding diet, understanding food, understanding yoga. We look at the different modalities from our near environment, our far environment. So looking at healthy architecture, doing some tours of what healthy architecture would look like that supports health, as well as sustainable farming and, understanding diet right from the soil onwards. And we are in the clinic as well here on campus and practicing pulse diagnosis. So there's so many different opportunities for practicing all of these different modalities that we're learning about, as well as coming together as a community. As you can see in this picture, it's a very beautiful coming together of everyone, and just how we can support each other in this journey.
Okay, I just wanted to also mention that with the residential week, it's so fun because we had a number of cooking demos, and so and tasting of the product of the cooking demos, and I think that was really we had a good time with that. Just really getting into how to do it, how to really do Ayurveda at home, how to make this food and do it in a very efficient and easy way that's practical for a busy person to accomplish, and really how to make lunch your main meal of the day with minimum fuss and just get it done, and making lassi and making fresh yogurt and drinking the lassi, and combining spices to make your own personal spice mix for balancing vata, pitta, or kapha, whatever your predominant dosha is. We also learned how to make ghee in a really easy way that is doable right in your crock pot. So I think that was so fun, and people just really enjoyed the week. It was very enjoyable for everybody.
Kimi, do we have any more questions, or are we ready to close?
We are ready to close. We don't have any more questions left. All have been answered. But if you do happen to have any other questions, Dr. Elder, can they go ahead and email you?
Please do. My email is in the chat. C as in Charles, C Elder, Charles Elder, CEELDER @miu.edu.
Thank you. I went ahead and posted in the chat one more time. You can go ahead and copy and paste that and save it in your notes. Thank you everyone again for participating. It has been a wonderful session. Don't forget to check out the recording on YouTube. And again, email us if you have any questions. Have a great
Thanks for joining, everyone.
evening.
Thank you.